Let's jump into it, folks. Let's start with, how are eukaryotic cells similar to bacterial cells? Well, we have the plasma membrane. Here on the screen it's called the cell membrane, but that's the same. And just like in bacteria, this kind of holds the cell together. It forms the boundary of the cell, keeps everything outside out, keeps everything inside in. Similarly, again to a bacterial cell, an animal cell has the cytoplasm. And this is the watery interior containing all sorts of things. Like protein, like sugar, and more. What are some other parts of an animal cell? Well, there are many, many parts of an animal cell, and we call those organelles. And they all have a distinct function. For example, we have, if I could get my cursor, the nucleus. The nucleus is this whole region here. And the nucleus contains the DNA. So, unlike a bacterial cell, we have an organelle that kind of encases the DNA in our cells. We have a bunch of other stuff, folks. We have something called the endoplasmic reticulum. And the endoplasmic reticulum has a variety of roles. It has a large role in metabolism. It has a role in lipid synthesis, so making fats. It has a role in protein synthesis, so making proteins. It does a lot of stuff. Has a big role in telling the cell what to do. Does all sorts of things. What else do we have inside of the animal cell? Well, as I'm sure you all know, we have mitochondria. And what are mitochondria? I'm pretty sure I just heard you say the powerhouse of the cell, right? This provides the cell with energy. We love mitochondria. We also have something called the Golgi apparatus. Looks kind of weird. And the Golgi apparatus, among other things, helps with the transportation of stuff to different places in the cell. Of course, more happens there. Organelles in our body, turns out, are pretty complicated, and they have multiple roles. And so these are some various parts of human cells. And the big takeaway here, folks, is that human cells are more complicated than bacterial cells, and they're much bigger. And I'm showing you one shape of a cell on this slide. But you should know that human cells are wildly diverse, okay? So here on the screen, I have some muscle cell on the top left. In the bottom middle here, these are some fat cells. And so human cells just have this beautiful diversity of structure. which I think is great. And, thank goodness too, otherwise our bodies wouldn't function the way they do. So let's wrap up. We learned about cells today, and I walked us through some differences between prokaryote or bacterial and eukaryote or animal cells. Prokaryotes or bacteria are small. They're simple. We didn't really see any organelles, and we saw the DNA just hanging out in the middle, not in a nucleus. Compared to that, animal cells are pretty complicated. They have a bunch of organelles that perform many, many different roles for us. And with that, I'll leave you with this cat meme. See you in class.